Peace, world, it's the homie Timbo, and we back. We got a special guest on deck right now. Now tell us who you are and where you from.
Yeah, what's good, world? I go by the name Troy the Boy, aka Troy Singleton. I'm from Southside Jamaica, Queens. Let's clear up these allegations. It's my first interview. Let's get to it.
There's a lot of things being said back and forth on the internet lately, and the brother is just here to clear up some of these misconceptions and clear up some of these rumors. Let the viewers know who your dad is, for those that might not be familiar, and where was your dad from?
My dad was Big Noos Troy. You know, he's from Southside Jamaica, Queens. He grew up in Pine City. He was in Bricktown. He used to run with E-Money Bags, R.I.P., Uncle Hamo. My pops was a good dude. Besides all the stories that y'all hear out there, my pops was a great dude. He looked out for a lot of people. But on the other end, my pops was a menace, you know? He had to do what he had to do. He was in the jungle, and my pops was one of them. When you speak of Queens, you hear Supreme, and you hear Troy and E-Money Bags.
What kind of reputation did your pops have in Queens?
He was a demon, man. Like, he was a menace. If Troy come around, it's trouble. Tuck your chains, tuck your rollies, tuck your money. He was that dude.
Now, it was said that your pops was a part of the Young Guns crew. Can you tell us a little bit about the Young Guns? Who were they, and what kind of reputation did they have in Queens?
Respect to the Young Guns. My pops wasn't Young Guns. My pops was a rebel. The Young Guns would be considered a gang. My pops wasn't a gang. My pops had his own names. My pops didn't answer to nobody. My pops was that one-man army. He didn't care about none of that. My pops had Southside, because my pops was really deep in that field, and he was that person by himself.
On a previous Vlad interview, Tony Yayo once said there was only 4 dudes in Queens that wasn't scared of Preme. That was 50, E-Money Bags, Hamo, and Troy. When you heard that, what did you think?
Yayo's my uncle. Shout out to Uncle Yayo. I'm in contact with them. I'm always in contact with Fifth. When they see me, they see my pops. They always tell me stories. That tells you that when them dudes came around, it was trouble. They didn't care about Preme and what he had going on, and they didn't care about none of that. They was dumb. They was doing their thing, and they dared to get across their paths. They was one of them. My pops was a menace. He put fear in a lot of Ziggin hearts.
First off, T-Boy was my arch enemy. He was the arch enemy of the hood. We had beef with T-Boy first. It was a situation where my man had took T-Boy chain and shit, and T-Boy came in the hood. He had found out it was my man from the hood, that's the Soul in Paradise and shit. And he kidnapped one of my mans and had him all day, robbed his crib, pounced him out, pistol whipped him and shit, had him all day, kidnapped him, but he let him go. So after that, it was just all out war. We was shooting, had mad shootouts with T-Boy and all that, you know, but then my man Pone, shout out to Pone got locked up and did a bid with T-Boy. And he got cool with T-Boy, and when he came home, he was like, yo, I want you to meet somebody. And T-Boy pulled up, and I looked outside and see T-Boy, like, yo, what the fuck you bring this nigga around for, man? And he was like, nah, you gotta meet this man. I'm telling you, he ain't what niggas think, man. I'm like, man, let's kidnap our fucking man. And he was like, nah, it ain't like that, man. So when I met him, it was from there. From the first time I met the nigga, we was just cool from there. And T-Boy is like a stitcher, because T-Boy know everybody. So losing him was like, it's unexplainable, but that's my brethren.
As of lately, Bimmy has made mention of your dad numerous times in numerous interviews. Do you know him, and have you ever met Bimmy?
Mr. Bimmy, man. I don't know Bimmy from a can of paint. I have never met Bimmy. I don't know what that man is talking about. He knows my pops very well, very well. He met the 5 fingers a lot of times from my father. It was a lot of physicality with Bimmy, and it didn't go Bimmy's way. Never.
What kind of relationship did Bim and Troy have, if any at all, from what you can remember or what you might have learned as you grew up?
I'm not going to sit here and tell you shit that's not in my knowledge, because at that time I was young of age. But from when I know and from what I've seen, my father did not like Bimmy. Bimmy was the reason why he did that bid. Yeah, it's a lot going on with Bimmy, man.
Some paperwork was released online which alleged that Bimmy was a confidential informant who went by the alias Music. Bimmy, however, disputes these allegations and says it's not true. Now, in the paperwork, it says a CI named Music snitched on your dad about a shooting in Baisley Park in 1995 in which left 2 people dead. Have you heard about this, and what are your thoughts?
When I hear it online, it's like about time somebody says something, because if you ask around about Bimmy, everybody says the same thing. All the streets say the same thing. Bimmy is a rat. Bimmy is a confidential informant that goes by the name of Music. And the problem is he think that everybody is gone and don't have the same type of platform to speak on it. He think just because my father's dead that he could get away with bullshit like that and lying like that. That's not about to happen. I'm gonna speak up. All this lying shit gotta stop. He's a CI.
It was alleged that your pops had shot 2 men during the Baisley Park tournament. You might have been a shorty at that time, but it was an ill basketball tournament that used to go on in Baisley. I think it was called a Dogs of War. But it was right there, right behind Baisley Park. The whole Queens was out there. Everybody was out there. I was out there. It was probably 1,000 people out there that day, give or take. Did you hear about that incident, and what are your thoughts on that incident?
Like you said, there was thousands of people out there, and that's how the police got his name, because he is a witness. You was out there. Why didn't they come and get you? Why didn't they question you? He was a witness. They knew who to grab, and they knew who Bimmy was. They knew. It's self-explanatory.
It's alleged that your pops found out about Bim making a statement and applied the pressure, pressing the issue. Bim then went to your pop's lawyer's office and signed an affidavit which allegedly recanted the original statement. Now, for the viewers, an affidavit is a written statement in which the signer verifies that the document and the things stated in the document is true. Now, did you hear about this, and what are your thoughts?
He made a statement at first. So the affidavit was to recant his first statement that he made. My father pressed the issue. He had people make him go to the lawyers and recant his statement. He didn't gracefully go. He did that so he won't have to go on trial to blow up his confidential informant name, which is Music. His statement was already enough. My father got charged for a double homicide at first, and because he did that, they just charged my father with a loaded weapon. They charged him 7 years, and he did 5 years. He's the reason why my father did time, period. I blame him. Half the time I had to go up north to see my father. My father was in the jail system. The little time that he was out, I didn't have that much time with my father. He died when I was 8. You put another man in jail and let him miss time from his kid's life.
In a previous interview, Bimmy admitted that he did go to your pop's lawyer's office, and when he went to the lawyer's office with a certain individual from my hood that's from my block, I'm not going to mention his name, but Bimmy mentioned his name a few times as being the person that went with him to the lawyer's office to help clear your father's name. But he also denies that he provided information that led to your dad being arrested in the first place. But people are asking, why would Bimmy sign an affidavit to help clear your pop's name if he didn't say anything in the first place?
Why did you have to clear your name in the first place? That answers the question itself. There's no reason for you to even sign an affidavit to clear your name for nothing. Like, did you sign an affidavit to clear your name for anything, big bro? You was there. You said there was thousands of people there. There wasn't 1,000 affidavits clearing nobody's name. It was only one.
Did your pop see the paperwork? And if so, how would he have had obtained that information?
My pops was locked up with several people that he told specifically that Music was on his paperwork. That's Bimmy. My pops had the paperwork from his lawyer. He had it. He was going to take it to trial, and Bimmy would have had to come to trial and testify. The feds felt, and the states felt like he was more valuable in the streets. They felt like my pops was the little fish. They wanted the more bigger fish. On top of that, I just got confirmation that Supreme was paying off my father to not expose Bim. My father and them was gonna put the paperwork on every Chinese store in the hood, and Preme was paying them off not to.
You said Preme was paying your pops off not to expose Bimmy. Now, why do you think Preme was doing that?
To be honest, I don't know. You gotta ask that man. But I just got confirmation from a real good source, 100% source. When my pops came home from doing that 5 years, he absolutely knew that Bimmy was cooperating, so he was smacking him up, patting him down. And that's why my father chose to just straight wreak havoc on everybody. Every Supreme team nigga, whoever jacked Supreme team and all that, my father was wreaking havoc when he came home. He was wreaking havoc because niggas is jacking a rat.
Now, Troy, in Bimmy's defense, he says that he was at Baisley Park that day but did not witness the shooting. Now, he says that detectives put his name on a scrap piece of paper of people that they wanted to interview. Now, this scrap paper was later given to Troy by a lady that worked at the precinct. Then the word had got out that Bimmy was cooperating. Now, this is why he went to Troy's lawyer and signed the affidavit to say he never saw or said anything in regards to the shooting at Baisley Park. Now, that's what Bimmy says. That's the statement that he made about that incident. Now, what do you say to that?
I say he's a fucking liar, because there wouldn't be no reason for him to come to my pop's lawyer to clear up anything. Once again, if you don't say anything to the police, you have the right to remain silent. You don't have no reason to go to my pop's lawyer to clear your name unless you said something in the first place.
Now, it's alleged that during that time, Bimmy's mother's house was shot up. Bimmy's twin brother also, if I'm not mistaken, is rumored that he was shot. Do you feel Bimmy might have signed the affidavit because of the pressure that was being applied and the things that started going on in the streets after that incident?
There's consequences and repercussions to ratting. The pressure was on him, and this is why he went to the lawyers.
Do you feel the drama that your pops had with Bimmy over this situation, do you think that might have led or added fuel to the fire of the issues that he would later on have with the Supreme team?
Deep down in my pop's heart, he knows Supreme is jacking a rat. Like I said, I got confirmation that Supreme was paying my pops and the guys off to not expose Bimmy when my pops got out. So my pops is like, he don't respect that. He went against all that. He gonna put niggas through hell and take niggas' money, you heard? But that shit definitely added a lot of fuel to the fire.
Now, Bimmy recently said in the interview that he squared off with your pops outside the Hit Factory. For the people that don't know what the Hit Factory is, it's a studio in New York City. What do you think when you hear claims like that?
That's what I think when I hear claims like that. I start laughing. You standing off with Big Noos, Troy, that would never happen. A standoff with my pops, respectfully, Bimmy wouldn't be here. He was one of them, putting his rollie away, tucking his chain when he see my pops. A standoff is never a blemish on my pops' name. From jail, from the streets, come on, man. A standoff with my father, with Big Noos, Troy. And what happened after that? He just let you leave? I look at that as he's a clown. Let's ask Mr. Music what happened with that time in Rochdale at the phone booth. My pops was smacking him up in the phone booth. For you to get slapped and then you're gonna have a standoff?
What can Bimmy do satisfy you, more or less, with this situation?
What would satisfy me is just stop talking about my dead father and stop talking about me and stop talking about the situation at hand. Keep my name and keep my pop's name out his mouth. My pop's been dead for 23 years. Let my pops rest in peace, because you talking on the dead, and that's very disrespectful. If you don't got nothing good to say, don't say nothing at all. He's saying God bless the dead. I take that very disrespectful.
Now, unfortunately, Troy, your father was murdered in 2001. What do you remember about your father? What kind of father was Troy?
My father was a good dude. You heard? My father was a good man. He was a family man. He always made sure that I was good. He used to take me to school. He used to always pick me up. He used to always just be there, always be there to support me, take me to the movies, take me anywhere I wanted. He was a good dad. He was a good dad. Unfortunately, he had sickle cell, so there was a lot of times where he was in the hospital. He gave the sickle cell to me. I got sickle cell. My father was a great father at the end of the day. He just had to do what he had to do on the streets. He never brought the streets to his house. He looked out for a lot of people. That's who my father was. He showed a lot of people love. Like, you needed money, he'll give you money. You needed food, he'll give you food. That was a good dude right there. Like, that was a great dude. Rest in peace to Big Troy, you know. Good or bad, just let my father rest in peace, man. R.I.P. to Big Troy. R.I.P. to E-Money Bags. Shout out to you, Big Bro. I appreciate you for the opportunity to give me a platform to talk, say my side of the story. You can find me on Instagram at Troy _DA _BOY. Troy the Boy. Go on YouTube, type in Troy the Boy. I got nothing but music. I'm always with the positivity. It's always work. I want to stay healthy. I hope everybody stay healthy, you know. Besides all of that, got a lot of music, big bro. A lot of music, a lot of videos, got a lot of shit coming. That shit just gave me a spark, you know what I'm saying? So we're gonna get back at it.